Okay, a little bit further now. It's still a little wet in some areas. It's the same fender, and you see where it's drying. And I always thought, once it dried, it would be shiny, but it's not because it's still scuffed up. This is all the way up to 1,000. There you go. There's the other portion of it. This is up to 1,000 so far. All I've got to do now is the 1,500, the 2,000, and then buff it. So let me show you what I'm doing. All I got is I got a little cup of water right here, and here's the last one I'm using right there. Okay, get it on there, get it wet. Just go to town like this. It's not hard. You go right through it, and you'll notice. I always thought the higher sandpaper you couldn't feel it. Well, I was mistaken. Even when you get up to 1,000, you can feel where the grit's actually doing something. So, anyway, you just keep dipping in water and keep going over it. So, like I said, that's 1,000. I'm going to put it on pause, and I'll go ahead to 1,500, 2,000. I'll show you what it looks like then, and then I'll buff it. Pause. Okay, just got done 1,500 and 2,000. That's what it looks like wet. It looks, oh wow, you see it's starting to dry a little bit. A little shiny, but it's going to be dull here in just a minute once it dries. And then I'll show it to you just before we hit it with the buffer. There you go, see? It's starting to dry off. The sandpaper, this is all I used. The one that's going to take the most is the 120, because you really got to, don't be afraid, scrape the hell out of it, scrape the top off of it, and you'll see, like in the earlier part, or the other video, that it's pretty big scratches. And you go after the 120, I went 320, 400, 600, 800, 1,000, and then one of these is 2,000. And you think that, well, you really can't feel it. I thought the same thing, but because if you go from 1,000 to 1,500, that's a 500 difference in grit, so you can feel it. It's kind of like rubbing paper, and you feel a little scuff on it. Then you go from 1,500 to 2,000, and there it is again. There's the other part of the scuff that you can feel. So we'll go ahead and let it dry before I wheel it. Get the wheel, and I'll show you what that is. See, the other side is nice and shiny, and there's that. Okay, let's pause again. Okay, so I forgot I had a light up here. But anyway, there's after 2,000 right there. And you see it looks dull. Well, it is dull. And there's a shiny part from the factory. So what we're going to do, and you see that big gouge right there? That is so deep, I'm not going to worry about it. I think it's got one more gouge. Yeah, on this side right here, I'm not going to worry about it. See the contrast between where it's been sanded and where it hasn't? The shiny part there, and this is just dull. And that's fine. Okay, nice and smooth. Still got a little drying. Like I said, this is all I used, all the sandpaper, and I just had this full of water. And the key is, make sure, what I did was I dipped my sandpaper in there, and I had plenty of water, kept going over it, kept going over it, kept going over it, and there we are. That's where the underneath there was nice and pretty yellow because the light covered it. So now all I'm gonna do, I've got my trusty DeWalt drill and this, just a wool pad. See, it just fits into the front. You can pick up at the parts store. I think it's like 14 bucks. The other key I found out, and a buddy of mine at the shop told me, initially I had it on 1. It wasn't fast enough, so put it on 2. And when you do it on 2, you get the high RPMs, you can go around it, and it makes a big difference. The other thing, by trial and error, I found out, is when you're going, you see the drill, it goes this way. So always do that on the side where it rolls out. I did it on this side, and the damn fender shot about 10 feet away. So anyway, always do it on the side that rolls out. You can pick up the fenders, it's not that hard while you're buffing it, and just roll it out. The same thing, so when you're on this side, turn it this way so it rotates towards the outside. Okay, last time, pause, put it on there, and next time you'll see what it looks like. Okay, what I did was just half the fender so far. I wanted to see where it's coming along. See, it's nice and shiny on that side, just like back here's factory. Nice and shiny. That's only half the fender. And I barely did it a little bit. That was only about a minute or two. And here's the other side. So, no rubbing compound, no nothing else. Just that sandpaper. Let me put it, there you go, to dry mat. You can see the contrast now. Okay. Let me finish it up. And I'll show you the end product here in a couple minutes. Okay, here we are. Here's the finished product. This is the one I just got done. It took about 3 minutes. Took one battery. All the way down. Came out nice. Let me put it out here in the other light. There you go. There's the front, factory. And you come back and you can see the part that we just got done doing. Yeah. Okay, so look at that. Is it as good as factory? No, but I'll tell you what, it's just about brand new. If you notice how it looks, this is about how it looked. This is the side plate before. Remember I told you about the white here? Well, I just did the outside edge on this because I'm going to put a black number, or the black vinyl over this. So these were the same thing. These are my side panels. The same thing, I didn't go inside the circle because I want to put a black number plate on it. But they were just as bad. If you look, you see right at the top how wide it was. Okay? I didn't get all the way up there because that goes under the seat. But anyway, there's the rest of it. All the way around the side. And it's easy to do. You can hold it with one hand, use the buffing wheel with the other one. Here's another back fender I did for the other bike there. Okay? And here's that front fender I did. So, recap. When it was really bad, like I said, almost white like that, start off with 120, which is really going to scratch it up good. Then go to 320, 400, 600, 800, 1,000. And then after 1,000, go ahead and jump up to 1,500, and then 2,000. And you'll get a finished product like this. Nice. Okay. So, how long did this fender take me? I think probably total time from beginning to end was about an hour. Okay. Well, one other trick I'm going to show you. Well, it will save you a lot of grief. Okay. When you get the new buffing wheel from the parts store, turn it on. Make sure you know which way it's going, and then hold a flat tip screwdriver like this. Run it across it. When you run it some, and that'll get all the fuzz out. If not, you're going to have, it'll look like it's snowing. So do it outside too. Let it run, on low 1, run us across it and get all the fuzz out, then get started. I didn't use any dishwater detergent, any rubbing or buffing powder, buffing compound, anything else. Because I found out you don't need to. As long as you keep your sandpaper wet, keep your plastic wet, and keep rubbing back and forth, it'll all come off. And you'll end up with the same kind of product like this. And those. So I just saved about $250 or $259 in buying a new one, or new set. And I probably spent, I think, $30 in sandpaper. And what amazed me was, you don't have to use that much. For example, on my 2000, out of a full sheet, cut it in half, used one, and half the other one, and that was enough to do it. The one I said you use the most is the 120 because You want to get it all the way down, and don't think it's going to come bright yellow. It's not going to come bright yellow because it's going to be all scratched up. So I'm sure I've either educated you or bored the hell out of you. So anyway, that's it. Good luck.